Oh, so we're watching this Apple event from October, and we're gonna comment it because, well, one, because of the computers that they show, and two, we're trying to comment the production of the Apple event because I feel like they really went full Hollywood on this one.
Yeah.
Um, so it starts okay. Like,
I'm bored. I mean, I get it. The guy's like, he has his $5,000 monitor with his $10,000 computer.
yep.
There's probably like 100 grand of hardware in this garage.
I mean, he even has those Apple speaker that cost like $400 when they came out,
Yeah,
and nobody bought.
there you go. He's got it. He's getting into it.
Why does he have an iMac when he has a MacBook Pro? Like, like the old iMac.
Yeah. I have a feeling the acoustics in this room would be pretty awful because it's a garage. It's like so hard. It's so, I'm just, because I'm not an Apple person at all.
Yeah.
So it's so difficult for me to not be cynical about all of this, like this entire, like the evil lair behind this guy right now. It's just.
Well, yeah, we're not here to comment on that. I mean, I'm not an Apple person either, but
yeah. But this is.
There's
I mean,
worse
so
in that area, to be honest. I mean, there's Facebook close by.
Yeah, well. Yeah, if we want to watch Facebook videos, it's going to be. I'll have something to say.
I'm not sure if that was shot on a green screen, but maybe.
I don't think so. I think that was a drone shot. I think this is actually
on field.
That's HQ. That's Apple HQ. And he's getting covered in ticks in this field right now. I'm just trying so hard not to like say disparaging things.
I'm glad I cannot hear him. Yeah. Okay, so this is like advertisement for Apple stuff.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised how many people I know who actually use Apple Watch, because I have friends who use it for blood pressure and heart rate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like people found uses for them, although
Yeah, we had some fancy like.
Is this CG?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not sure. It could be.
Like, is this entire room CG? If not, I would be so uncomfortable in a recording studio like this. I feel like if I scratch anything, like $1,000 bill.
I mean, this is, to be honest, is like.
I don't know if Liam Bridges is the perfect dinner party mix.
Yeah. Besides that, I think like this is the least interesting feature that they brought up. I guess, like, who cares? Like, why wouldn't I want to see the music that I'm playing?
Yeah. It is. It's a little bit of like a sales tactic. It's like they're playing up the things that it can do a lot.
Yeah.
But what that thing is objectively is really not that impressive.
Voice plan. I mean, he's pretty good grounded on the floor, so.
Wait, I don't understand. This is a plan where if you only use your voice.
Yes, to select songs.
It's cheaper or something?
Yes. Exactly. Why? I guess they wanted to make it a cheaper plan to entice people to join, and they had to come up with some gimmick.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand what that is. Am I just getting old? Like, I don't understand why the voice plan matters at all.
I don't know either. I guess it's kind of like the Apple Shuffle. Like, I didn't really understand what that was about.
This is like, that was quite a transition. That tracking
Yeah.
was pretty solid.
Now this, it could be 3D, like all this.
I think that this has to be 3D.
This has to be, yeah.
I don't believe those reflections.
And it's like, I don't know, wait, he's far away, so it could totally be fake. See, good production though.
Yeah, no, this is actually for like a sales video, essentially, right?
Yeah, like for what I mean, it's kind of funny. So, Steve Jobs' videos were a lot more like presenting the product and presenting how it works instead of like presenting the features. And to me, it kind of gave me that idea of like, oh, this is actually a real thing. Like this guy is actually using it. And sometimes it didn't work. It was more human. This one does not interest.
It's an ad.
Yeah, it's an ad, and it does not like bring me into like, oh, this is really cool. Like it's okay, yeah, it's kind of like an ad. Like
the thing that used to be interesting about Apple is that they would do things that you thought were not possible with technology.
Right.
And that's not what they are anymore.
What do you mean? Asking Siri to change song is not cool anymore?
Yeah, with your voice, with the voice plan.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you'll figure out why that exists.
Like,
but I remember like when like the iPod came out, like people thought that wasn't like possible.
Yeah.
That was something that could be done.
Because it was tiny and compact and very well
looking. But now it's like, oh, like you know, there's new features in Siri. It's like there's new features every day and everything. Not interesting.
So I'm pretty sure they actually built this thing.
I think the environment is CG, but what's inside the environments is footage.
Oh, that would it could be
a stage. It could be a green screen stage where they actually have those sets. Like the sets are real.
Yeah.
But then everything else is green screen, and then they have like a motion track camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be something like that.
Probably. Very expensive.
Oh yeah. The grass. I mean, I honestly like the landscaping here is expensive that we're looking at. I don't even believe this is naturally growing. Like, well, I mean, it might be natural to the environment, but it's probably manicured.
Okay, this is definitely 3D. I mean, that's cool. It's a projection behind it.
Good, cool graphics for sure. That's like that laser projection, whatever looks like 10 8K laser projectors. Like, I think that's kind of cool. Like, well, I don't care what Apple's doing about it, but like immersive sound recording and finishing is kind of cool.
Yeah. I think what's his name? Sony had something like that too going on, but they obviously don't advertise it as well as Apple does.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is that it actually has nothing to do with Sony or Apple. It's just it's a way of recording and finishing music and audio.
Right.
It has more to do with how you, it's like, like producing a stereo feature.
Well, apparently Sony has this way of recording it, and then it
Oh,
adapts.
yeah, that's more relevant. Like if they came out, if Apple had like some recording equipment,
Yeah, but
yeah,
like apparently,
allow
like
you.
they recorded because like everybody has different ears. So first they recorded, and then they adapted to your ears. Some like the
Uh-huh.
speakers that they have, like or the
Okay,
headphones that they have.
that's something. Yeah, it's kind of like having a TV that color calibrates
Right.
to your room. Like that is something. Like I'm actually surprised that doesn't exist. Like TV should just calibrate themselves automatically based on the environment they're in.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be that difficult because phone do it. You just
It
need
wouldn't
a
be difficult.
cheap camera.
Well, I'm not going to say it wouldn't be difficult at all, but you could definitely do something in that space. And they're doing this with audio basically. They're like adaptive EQ is a thing that exists. That's kind of cool. I can get behind that because it makes a huge difference. It really does.
Hmm.
That's why I have like the Bose, with the noise canceling Bose,
Hmm.
because it's not even so much about the noise canceling because I don't necessarily care about not hearing my environment. It's more about if you get rid of the noise in the background, you actually get a truer, you hear what it's supposed to sound like more correctly. Is that expensive? I haven't bought stuff like this in a while.
A little bit, but you can always find some deals every now and then and shave off like 40 or 50.
Yeah. Oh, they have headphones.
Yeah, they're
That's a
super
bit.
expensive and they're
Yeah.
really weird the way that they turn off. You have to put them in a pouch. And if you lose the pouch, you cannot turn them off.
Ah, that Apple design.
Hmm.
God forbid there was an off button.
All right, now we're starting to talk about their amazing chips,
Yeah,
which they are impressive,
they
you
are
know,
impressive. They took
for
parallel. They took parallel processing, and this was. I think we talked about this before. Like this has been in the making for like a decade, where everyone knew that GPU and parallel processing was gonna enter into like full-fledged processing, like
mhm.
full-fledged CPUs. And everyone thought that Intel was going to do it because like it was kind of common sense that they would.
Yeah,
And
but they
Apple
never,
did it. Apple came out and did it.
yeah, 'cause they're like, can't wait for Intel to do it anymore.
Yeah, basically they just got, yeah, Intel wasn't doing it, so they just went ahead and did it. And it was wise because it makes a huge difference.
And for like regular computing, they do seem to be the best ARM processors around. So
Yeah, I think so. I think the M1 series, like I was telling Leah that I was telling my girlfriend that she was going to buy a new MacBook Pro, and I told her to wait, just wait for these to come out because the difference
yeah,
is going to be night and day, and it's worth the price. This is the one thing where I'll say, like with Apple, if you're really if you need processing power, I would pay for the M1 chip. I think that's something that they really have.
yeah. I thought about like after this video, I was like, okay, I'm kind of like curious to see what you can do with this thing, because like it's also like the only ARM chip that you can really use with a desktop interface
Yeah,
to actually produce something. Um, but the prices are to the roof for this stuff.
yeah, yeah. But that's processing is through the roof by nature. I mean, buy like an RTX NVIDIA card, if you can find one.
Right, but like if you buy like a decent AMD processor, it's still relatively like, affordable.
Is it in the
Um,
same realm of performance?
that I don't know. That's why I was kind of like curious to see like,
Yeah. It's usually it is a thing with like CPUs is also like you get diminishing returns from them. It's like to get at the very, very high end, like a 10% difference in performance will cost you like double the price.
that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is like a sweet spot where you have to, at a certain point, the price doesn't make sense anymore. From what I can tell, the M1 chips are not at that point yet. So it's like if you had to compare apples to apples, apples to apples.
I
If you
see the
had,
pun over here.
like if you had to compare like like a Dell laptop versus a MacBook, and you were only looking at processing power, you might
Yeah.
pay like $300 more for the MacBook, but the amount of actual increased processing power you get with the M1 is definitely worth that $300 if you need it, if you care
Well,
about.
so the interesting thing about the M1 Pro, it seems like they're just scaled up the cores. So I'm also very interested to know, like, are they controlling the cores in software? Because they can do that since it works on Mac OS.
Can you?
Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, no matter. Yeah, if it's yes, definitely you can.
because
I
I
mean, it depends.
know,
What do
like,
you mean?
Intel had like issues adding a lot of cores because they manage the cores on
Oh,
the
I see what you're
hardware level.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not just like, oh, slap more cores and it works better.
Yeah.
No,
So you
because
have to actually take advantage of the.
right, you need like an architecture to like separate things.
Yeah. I don't know. That I don't know. That's because that's really like a software development question, whether or not how
Yeah,
whatever Apple's system is for that.
they don't say anything, so
I mean, not here, not on this thing. That's like you have to get more involved with that.
yeah. And now the Max, which is basically the Xeon of their of their thing. And these environments are so like between Apple and IKEA, and they're so
Yeah.
unbelievable to be realistic that I'm confused. I wonder if they shot this like, I don't know, maybe on a volume stage.
I mean, yeah, sure. They're throwing silicon at it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an impressive thing, but honestly, I'm not impressed if you just make something bigger and it performs more. I mean, of course it would, right? I mean, why not just put 6 M1s in there? Make it work faster also.
Well, one thing that they don't have is they don't have like hyper threading functionality. So one core does one thread. So the only way to have like 32 threads is to have 32 cores.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that to compete, they have to like throw so many cores.
Yeah.
I mean, those graphs are completely useless.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like this dude's, he's talking a lot, but it's kind of like
Not saying much.
he's not saying much. Because it's just like it's 7 times faster in what way?
Yeah, compared to
Doing
what?
yeah, doing what in what circumstance? Like it seems like it really seems like what they made is really targeted at like when they say more performance, what they're talking about is more like encoding power, more real-time rendering power. So it's like I guess like Maya or something would do well, and After Effects would do really well.
I mean, After Effects probably, yeah. I'm surprised that they don't compare the graphic power to anything really. Anything tangible at least, because like it's easy to compare it against like Intel integrated graphic card, but those are like they just turn on the screen. That's all they need to do.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is that like, yeah, I'm kind of curious how much the M1 Max costs.
I think a MacBook Pro with an M1 Max and 64 gigabyte was like 5,000 to 6,000.
Hmm.
It's hard to justify it, you know,
It's like you have to
because
really
like I
need.
don't even. I was thinking about it to get it, but then I'm like, I don't really have any production that I know will work on this. So
Yeah.
this is a cost that I cannot really explain, you know.
Yeah, it's not justifiable. Like,
Right.
well,
It's
it
not
is.
just
It's when you get into those price ranges. Well, it's like kind of what I'm saying. Is that like, well, like it's very powerful and that's super awesome and cool. But once you're paying a lot of money for it, you have to justify it. And then the
right.
question is like, okay, do I need all this performance? Because if the problem is performance, well, go on Google Cloud and get yourself a 1 terabyte RAM machine with 96 CPUs attached to it, and you can go crazy. It's pretty easy to go crazy nowadays with
Right.
hardware.
Or like if I know that I need to do a lot of 3D rendering, with $6,000, I can get a machine with like pretty good hardware to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're doing a Houdini render
Yeah,
and you
like
have 6 grand, you can just run up like 100 machines in parallel, and it will get the
yeah.
job done. And you didn't have to buy a $6,000 MacBook that's going to cost $3,000 the next day, because you bought it, or a year later or something. Like whatever the depreciation is.
This guy has such a slappable face. I don't know if that's a thing that we just say in Italy or like just gives you that feeling of like I just need to slap them.
Yeah, he has like that face where like he could literally like what it is. He has fake eyes. It's like some people when they smile, you could
Yeah.
just tell that they're faking it. And this guy has like those eyes where like you look at his eyes and it's just like, I don't believe anything you're telling me. You know what I mean?
maybe that's what it is, yeah.
It's a thing. It's like if you really pay attention, you can tell a lot about whether a person's being genuine by their eyes. I mean, that's like not a science, obviously, but it's
20%.
that I agree with. They are a major leap forward.
I'm kind of like all this secure boot stuff. Like, do common people really need that much security at boot level?
Well, they wouldn't know how to use it if they. I mean, secure like boot level security is. I mean, it's valid, but it's not something. I mean, that's not even something like people like in the industry really know about or think about. I think
Yeah.
like that's such like an involved, well, not involved, but it's more of an IT concern than. I never use that stuff. Like the going from your phone to your computer to like I never do that. I mean, I guess I do that with Gmail.
Yeah, it's really hard to do it with with an iPad and a Windows machine. I'll tell you that. They only make it easy if you have Mac.
Yeah. I like GarageBand.
GarageBand was fun, yeah.
Oh, that is the easiest track on the planet. Like, what are you doing?
What do you mean it moves?
Yeah. I forgot about Cinema. Cinema's so good, but Blender's kind of killing it.
Yeah,
For me, at least. Like, I mean, if you're a cinema person, I'm sure, like.
it still has some function that Blender does not have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, Cinema's cool.
I don't know what this effect is supposed to do.
Yeah, like, it really is. It's targeted towards, like, editors and, like, kind of like content creators, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so it does mask, like it tracks. What?
Yeah, like, there's like a
And it,
magic mask feature in Resolve.
okay,
That's
now
kind of
see,
cool.
we have like a really cool.
This is the best CG ad I've ever seen.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like this is like it took like whatever ad agency to like really come up with how to sell 3D packages. Yeah, but I mean, all of this is useless. Everything they're saying is meaningless, really. It's like, oh yeah, you can do this 4 times. It has 4 times more of this and 5 times more of that. Like, what do you mean? Because
But
like,
compared to what? Like if it's compared to
yeah,
like a MacBook Air, well, yeah, nobody's
but
using a MacBook Air
but
to produce.
also like I've used extremely powerful machines and like completely lit them on fire with like the simplest work.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, these things are not. I want to see it like render one of my scripts, and see how it does.
I want to see it like opening 2 or 3 like After Effects because like my machine is having issue with After Effects now.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
want to see
heavy.
it.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I want to see it render an After Effects project in Chinese with like a shitty plugin and see if it doesn't crash.
I don't think After Effects is gonna care about the Chinese though.
No, they're any kind of non Western standard languages can really mess up things, depending on what you're doing. But that's kind of the
Right.
point. It depends on what you're doing.
Also, there's this stance that they use with the like open legs. I mean, it's very interesting. I
That's true. I feel like
guess it's
they're
supposed to give you confidence because they're like very well balanced. I guess
yeah,
like
exactly.
what your brain is supposed to.
They're forming like a rectangle with their body,
Yeah,
and it just makes them look really uncomfortable.
it does. So it looks very like
Like I feel like if I walked into a room and somebody was like standing like that, I'd be like, "Are you okay? Like, are you?"
yeah, it doesn't look natural. That's
Yeah,
okay. Finally,
yeah.
they're bringing
Ports.
back the ports on
Apparently,
their.
this is a big deal.
It is because like they went down to like 2 USB ports at a certain point. I think 2 USB-C ports, like
Hmm.
which is ridiculous if you have like a production laptop.
Yeah, I mean, I have like my CalDigit thing,
Right.
um, which
Imagine having a laptop and you have to like drag around a bunch of like.
yeah, but that's my point. That's why they make those because it's if you have that situation where you have like one USB-C,
Yeah,
then you can buy like a CalDigit um, like extension port hub thing for like $400, and then you'll have all the ports you need. But it's $400,
yeah.
to get powered ports.
Did they talk about the notch yet? I wasn't.
I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I don't care about the notch. I think that's like such like a
I think it's kind of
nuanced.
stupid, to be honest.
Oh, that they have it, or like I don't know. I don't really care
If
about the
they
notch.
have it, it's like really you couldn't like. I mean, how much real estate are you gonna get on a laptop by adding the notch?
Yeah.
That really like makes sense.
Yeah, like all these things are like these are just like I am just not that nuanced about any hardware that I own. I don't care how much it weighs. I don't really care how thin it is. Like it could be like an inch thick, and I'd be like, all right, cool. Like this is how big it is. Like I don't.
Yeah, it depends on what it needs to do. Like I don't want my
Yeah,
laptop to like check emails to be like an inch thick.
yeah. I wish there wasn't so much hyperbole in all this. We reimagined the MacBook in every way. No, no, you didn't.
They went back to it. Like they
Yeah,
brought back the
you
F
went back in many ways, and from what I can tell, this looks like a MacBook. So you didn't reimagine that much. You reimagined your architecture, which is good.
Yeah, I feel like these kinds of like videos are what led to like current politicians because they probably realize, hey, if Apple says all this bullshit and people believe it,
Yeah, no, you know what?
we can do the same.
I actually don't disagree with that. I think there's definitely people have learned a lot about how much perception can do.
Yeah.
Like if you just pump money into like a really, really good presentation, people's brains just kind of turn off, and it's like, yeah, here's $5,000 for like this laptop I don't need. Like,
One thing that I like is that they have Thunderbolt. So not a lot of laptops have that.
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, because it's a lot better than USB 3 or USB-C.
Yeah. Well, apparently, what is the USB 4?
USB 4 is supposed to be
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt, like a mix between Thunderbolt 3 and 4, something like that.
Like when I was looking at because I know the CalDigit thing I have that I was talking about, like the Thunderbolt ports are the same as USB 4 ports, which also support 3.2 down to 3.2.
Right.
So like all these ports actually, if you have like a Thunderbolt or a USB 4, that covers a lot of real estate for different ports, for different things you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to like make USB 4 like easier, more universal, and because like there's like too many USB-C things. Yeah, this okay. Now they're talking about the notch.
What they're showing it.
It's just like why, like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really care.
To get that,
I mean,
like,
I could see, like, I imagine, like, if you're playing games or something like that, like, that could do something. Like, anytime I don't know. Yeah, I don't really care.
I don't know. No, because like, how much are you getting? Like 20 pixels, like, so that the interface is a little bit out.
Yeah.
They could also re-engineer macOS so that the interface kind of like hides.
Yeah.
I think I have my Linux in that way.
Yeah.
Well, one of my Linux machine, at least.
Wait, what's this? Hold on. Wait, is this a fake promo? Is that like a fake 120 hertz? No, it's like a hardware level refresh rate management.
Right. So it's basically adaptive refresh, like what high-end graphic cards do. So if your graphic card is not doing anything, it will just show like 2 frames per second.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool as long as it's not like fake motion.
No, that's kind of what the cell phones are doing right now because it helps with battery, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think they started with their iPad Pro because mine, I think so. They do that. Hey, I don't care how thin the screen is on the laptop. Like, I will consider the laptop a whole unit, not just the monitor. The brightness is cool.
All right.
I guess they couldn't get the OLED.
That's cool. The thing I'll say about stuff like this, I mean, I like looking at rich imagery as much as anybody. If you're just from a production point of view, it's not terribly relevant because you're working towards a target display environment, which is none of those things. Like you're working towards an environment that is not a 1 million to 1 contrast ratio. So even though you have that capability, it might actually be a bad thing because you kind of have to do your work based on how other people are going to see it, which is on their cell phone, on their crappy TV in their basement, or like in the theater, which hasn't been calibrated in a decade.
Also, notice how since they mentioned the notch, now they're showing all images with like a black bar next to the notch, so you don't see it.
Yeah, so you don't focus on it too much.
So like they don't even like it. Like they also need to hide it.
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
Mm-hmm.
because I think the reason people really don't like the notch is because at its very core, it always feels like a mistake.
It does.
It's not like when you look at a screen, you expect a rectangle. You just expect the perfect rectangle. And when there's a notch in it, whatever that notch happens to add, it just always looks like a mistake.
Yeah, the punch hole cameras are definitely less intrusive
Yeah.
because they feel like maybe it's a tiny icon that is there, you don't really, doesn't scream at you like there's a mistake here.
Yeah. Like I feel like I mean, I'm not an industrial designer, so like I don't know any of this, but I would always aim to just add a little bit at the top, just to fit in the camera. Maybe shove in some kind of extra, because that gives you a lot more real estate up there. So you maybe add something in next to the camera.
Right.
But I think that's always better. Strategically, it's always better than trying to put a notch in, because now you're also creating this conversation around the notch.
Unless that's their like, okay, this is a weird transition, like the whole camera moving, like how much of this background is real?
I think like most of the backgrounds are fake.
I
I really do. I think like,
mean, this one has like,
I don't know. Maybe
sometimes when they're in a room, they
maybe
feel
this is actually what Apple HQ looks like, which is like just
an empty space.
Yeah, it just reminds me of like the TV show Devs.
Debs?
It's a TV show. I think it's on Hulu. It's about how the software company that was I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's about how evil shit happens in a software company that is in a place like this, like the Apple HQ.
Okay, like see, like this number is kind of like entice me in a sense because they're comparing it to something that I know. I mean, they're not telling me which core i7, but
yeah,
it could be like generation 4 and we're at 11.
No, well, but I believe that this has been known about the M1s, is that
right.
they tangibly outperform the Intel stuff right now. That's what I'm saying. Like
they don't have like 20 years of engineering that they have to support like the 86 processors.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like I think buying an M1 makes a lot of sense, because I think that increase in price is made up by this like the massive increase in performance. Once you get to like the M1 Max, and you're talking like really ludicrous performance for very ludicrous price, well, I don't know if that makes any sense. That makes sense anymore, because I think that's just like kind of, yeah, that's just like some weird pissing contest. It's like you can get really high performance nowadays for specific tasks that you might have for not that much money, especially with cloud infrastructure now.
I like that they bring up the ProRes performance, but like, is ProRes a heavy like compression to deal with? Not that I know of.
It depends. If you're an editor, faster is better.
I guess, yeah.
Especially if you're doing, because we render, shots like shot by shot, but if they're rendering something that's like 10 minutes long, and it has to go to like from 4K raw to ProRes, then yeah, that can take time. And I guess the idea is that like you can now have a laptop that can actually take on that kind of workload like comfortably, which that I don't think existed before. Well, it existed before, but you would pay $3,000 or $4,000 for that laptop, or $5,000 if you want to go overboard.
I mean, this isn't as much as this is, so. But it's thinner, I guess. I'm surprised they don't talk about the battery performance that much.
17 hours of video playback.
Yeah, but like, what does that mean? Playing in a YouTube.
What are you playing? Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you playing?
Yeah. That's all. I mean, that's always the problems with all of this stuff. Is like, I wish they wouldn't throw so many numbers out because is it more or is it less? You know?
Well, this sustainability thing, I always think is kind of funny.
Uh,
Like we know that these products are not the best. None
yeah,
of our computers are the best for the environment.
yeah. People throw them in a landfill, and
Yeah,
you know,
and it's not just like what material you made it with, but also like what do you do after?
yeah. Wait, are they now showing us another video about?
Yes, this is the commercial to sell it. So yeah, they should have started with this.
Yeah, I'm like kind of like, why are we seeing this again? Like they're really. It's like I get it. You did it. You made a good processor. Yeah, exactly.
Pat on the shoulder.
Yeah, just keep going. You know.
I mean, 32 cores on a laptop though is pretty cool to think about.
Interstellar really just like now every image of like a black hole is just like the thing from Interstellar.
Yeah, because I think it was the first one that I actually like
Well,
um,
it's funny because it's not
applied.
that image is not. It's closer to, and this is also just like Blade Runner right now.
Yeah,
But the because that isn't that image is not like 100% accurate to how it would work, how a black hole would work. It's just like a really good visualization.
I thought it was like the closest approximation we had.
Yeah, it's the closest approximation. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's a really weird image that it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's just a cool thing. I don't know, like this is like in the Dark Knight, they have this room where you go underground and it's like a space like this. This to me is like the most uncomfortable space you could ever be in.
Yeah, this reminds me of like a
It's
museum.
like
When you go
yeah,
to
it's
a
like
museum and there's like some kind of like art piece that is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, they put it in a space that is kind of very enclosed with a low ceiling.
yeah, it's like this. It feels like a prison or something. Yeah, I mean, good job on the processor. Hopefully, other people catch up. That's what I really like about the M1. I think it's gonna it's kind of giving a kick in the ass to everybody else. It's like you need to get on this very obvious boat.
Yeah, Snap Qualcomm still is far away from it.
Yeah,
So maybe Nvidia, if they manage to buy the ARM chip, I think that's what they want to do.
yeah.
And the Apple thing looks really empty.
It's scary. I'm telling you, it looks like an evil lair.
Are there people working or like
I
are they just
guess.
underground? The outside is just
Who knows? Maybe they're making like the Apple car in there or something. All right. So I'm gonna stop the video.
Yes.
The. So yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's like the M1's really important. The production quality of that whole presentation was like really intense.
Yeah, I think it's the first product reveal that I see that has so much like production quality. Like even when Microsoft released their new Surface, they had some kind of like play around with the graphics, moving around people and stuff,
Yeah.
but never like to this level of like, look how polished our presentation is. It's like, I mean, it kind of makes it look very fake, to be honest. Like not very like.
Yeah, well, we were saying that. Yeah, like I wish they would go back to kind of the way it used to be, where they were just going to show the product
Yeah.
and not give us like fancy motion graphics and just like a really good ad.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well,
Let's hope the M1 kind of gets everybody else on board to like start competing. Maybe we'll get some cheaper processors out of all of this with more performance.
yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.